to the City podcast.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back another edition of Keys to the City with your host Trevor Keys alongside the big brother Ted Keys. And Ted, oh boy. Well, hate to say it, but Ted was right, ladies and gentlemen. He didn't have the exact prediction of how long the series was going to go, but he had the correct prediction. And Mr. Trev, once again, well, yeah, we'll talk about the Boston. When it comes to basketball, I might be.
You are the Eddie Mush of basketball.
I'm not that. Yo, come on. I'm not that
Dude,
bad.
you are so bad.
No, I was right. Well, first of all, I was right about the Celtics beating the Bucks. I was right about them beating the Heat. I was just wrong in this one. Not bad.
There was a lot more. There was a lot more. There was a bunch more that you messed up on, but that's okay.
Yeah, I know. I picked the Mavericks to beat the same Golden State team, the team that is finally another long over. I guess it's not long overdue, but in the sense of,
it's.
Well, I guess a familiar foe is back on top of the NBA world, ladies and gentlemen, and it's the Golden State Warriors after the comfortable win last night. A win that, yes, the score says it was only a 13-point game, but we all know that this game was just a lot different. You just watched the game from start to finish, and you just knew it kind of felt like it was Golden State's night. We'll talk about the Boston Celtics in a few, and we'll also talk about the question that everybody was talking about for some time now. Well, I guess we should maybe put it to rest. And if so, where does Steph Curry rank among the all-time greats now, finally winning a Finals MVP last night and much deserving? But Ted, let's talk about this Warriors dynasty. We talk about dynasties all the time about sports, and it happens since the time that sports has began. We've seen it with football, we've seen it with baseball, we've seen it with basketball. And the best way to describe for me, and it's just one word, and I just said it not too long ago. It was long overdue. And I think the NBA, and I know people are like, well, people can't stand the dynasties and stuff like that. But why? Why do people go or attack teams that win? Because nobody likes to win nowadays? Is that the problem? Like, why do we hate a team that, and I get it, people are over. People don't like seeing the same old type of team. But this isn't the same old type of team. Yes, they still had Clay, they still had Draymond, they still had Steph, and they still had Steve Kerr. But this is a completely different team from where they won in 2015 to where they are now in 2022. Picked up some huge acquisitions with Andrew Wiggins.
Andre,
there. And they still have drafted right, too.
Andre Iguodala was a big pickup. The trades that they made to get rid of D'Angelo Russell, to get Wiggins, the draft picks, this dynasty, this is a dynasty that I see different than any other dynasty. People actually root for this dynasty. There's not as much heat on this dynasty as you see with other dynasties in other sports. And I think because
I think that's
other than Draymond, and I think that's where you were leading with it, is other than Draymond, there's no one to really hate on this team. You can't. What is Curry to hate?
I'm glad you said that because in the past we've seen, well, people hated the Yankees because of the Yankees. People hated the Dallas Cowboys because they're the Dallas Cowboys. People hated the Lakers, the Boston Celtics because they were those type of teams. But in the sense of Golden State, Ted, you just said it. This is a team that, can you really dislike? They did it all. And look, I get the whole Kevin Durant experiment and that little transition. But other than that, this is a franchise that, how can you really hate? How can you really dislike? How can you be frustrated? If people are frustrated with this, because look, they do it all the right way. They've changed the game, especially Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. These guys do it the right way. They drafted right. They went to go pick up some free agents, made some trades, and then they drafted. And like I said, they drafted right. And it all came to an NBA title, another NBA title. Yes, I know Kevin Durant was there. But look, that's over with. That's long gone. This team is finally back on top of the NBA world, and it's not the worst thing because we like to see dynasties. No matter what people want to argue about, we like to see dynasties because we always want to know who is going to dethrone the champs. And when I say champs, this is a team that's been running the NBA, Ted, since this core began
So
back in
I want to ask, I want
2014,
to steal something
2012.
from a show that I watch all the time. But if we were playing the word game, what would be the one word that you would describe this dynasty?
Long overdue for the NBA because
That's not a word. One word.
long overdue.
All right.
I'm just putting it all together. Forget about it. I'll put the little dash in front of it. But it's long overdue because the NBA specifically, they were always best when you had Jordan and the Bulls, you had Larry and the Celtics, you had Shaq and Kobe. Hell, you could put the Miami Heat too with LeBron. I know they didn't win all the time, but that was a team for a short period of time that you felt like just dominated the league, and it was just who was going to be that team to take them out. That's the Golden State Warriors, Ted.
And you know what my one word would be? Ultimate. They're the ultimate dynasty in a perfect sense. Just listen to this, and I'll make it real quick.
Go ahead.
You think about this dynasty. We go back to 2000, what was it, 9, 10, 11, right around there, 12. Drafted some guy out of Davidson, Steph Curry. Mark Jackson's the coach.
Yep.
Let's go back. Let's do a little history lesson. Go back. They draft Steph Curry. They draft Klay Thompson. They draft Draymond Green. They're a franchise that really had not won anything that we could in our lifetimes that we could say like, the Warriors are good. Like they had Tim Hardaway for a little bit, but then he got traded to Miami a long time ago. I mean, they had a couple good runs with Baron Davis, but
Baron Davis,
this, if you think about this organization, the way they did it the last 10 years, ultimate. You drafted your 3 big stars, kind of like the Yankees. You drafted your 3 core guys. You traded a coach that was really good. Seriously, you fired a coach that was really good for a coach that had 0 experience.
Yep.
You won with that core in your first championship, and you beat the great LeBron James. All right. You won 4 titles in 8 years. You should have 6 in 8 years if it wasn't for Kyrie's 3-pointer and LeBron's block and Durant's injury with Clay's. So they have 6 in 8 years. If you also remember that first title, they broke the all-time record for most wins in a regular season. So they got that on the books. They're the greatest regular season team of all time.
Yeah.
They have the best shooter of all time.
Yeah.
They get maybe the greatest scorer of all time in Kevin Durant to join this great team. They win back-to-back championships. He leaves them. They have total dysfunction or disarray with the injuries and things that fall apart. They become the number 1 pick in basketball. They fall to 15 and 50. They actually get the number 2 pick, which was Wiseman.
James Wiseman, who they could have taken. They could have taken.
They were a lottery pick team. They get 2 top 10 picks back-to-back years. Yeah. And then they get the redemption tour and they win a title after.
I just think it's like, it's just a perfect storyline.
If you think about all the great storylines, right, in basketball history, you think about their 10 years of greatest regular season team, get the greatest scorer and shooter of all time to join this team that they went for 1 year where everyone loved to, oh my God, this is unfair. We don't like you guys. Root against them, to he leaves you guys.
Well, people had a right to.
They go to the worst team ever, or they become one of the worst teams ever 2 years in a row. Their 2 stars get injured. Curry goes multiple injuries. Klay tears his ACL, then comes back and has his Achilles torn in the offseason playing rec basketball. And now what? Now they have a redemption tour. Curry puts a finals MVP, puts himself in the top 10 ranking of all-time greatest basketball players. And now this dynasty, we have to eventually start talking about is where does this dynasty rank all time with the greats in basketball history? Because I think now you have to put them with that Spurs that had, 5 titles in 15 years. Their dynasty right now might be better than the Bulls dynasty 6 and 8 years. The way they did it against the competition that they did it too.
Well, yeah, I mean, Jordan won it 6 and 8 years, like you said. They got 4 and 8 years, and it is extremely impressive. It's extremely tough to kind of dominate the way they did, especially in today's NBA. But like you said too, it's like this is just a different type of dynasty because every time we think of dynasties, kind of like related to like villains. Like when you think about the Patriots.
Hold on.
I'll just
about the Miami Heat. Now
I get that. No. Let me say this.
3.
You go through all these teams Yankees, they were villains.
Dallas,
they're villains. The Miami Heat, when LeBron was there, they're villains. Shaq and Kobe, they're villains. They were, and don't get me wrong. The thing is, all these teams were so fun to watch, whether you were rooting for them to win or you were rooting for them to lose. They were still just all. So everybody was watching them. The eyes were on them, no matter how
Well,
bad you
because
wanted to
the
see them win
Warriors
or
are
lose.
actually fun to watch as a
That's what I'm
basketball team,
saying. It's just
because a
like
lot of
this
people don't
team.
like.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I think when you look at dynasties, right, you have Jordan and LeBron. I'm going to talk about their two dynasties as iconic players, right? We know what LeBron brings, what his ratings bring to the people are LeBron fans.
Yep.
He's huge. He's
He's
historical
LeBron.
in the
He's
sense of
LeBron.
basketball. You're not going to
Yep.
be able to tell the history of basketball without mentioning LeBron James. Michael Jordan, with his marketing, the Jordan brand, everything, what he represented the Bulls. The Spurs dynasty you don't really talk about because they have nothing that intrigues you. The Lakers, very intriguing, Shaq and Kobe, LA. But this
That's the. Go
Warrior
ahead.
dynasty, I mean, think of it. Other than Steph Curry, they don't have any superstars. All right. And there's a difference between being a star and a Hall of Famer and being a superstar. Legacy, game changers. LeBron changed the game. Michael changed the game.
Yeah.
Curry changed the game. And I think he changed the game for the betterment. And we see what that has come forward to in his career, now putting another finals MVP and another championship, and now having 4 titles to tie Shaq and LeBron.
Yeah.
2 guys that I consider 5 of the greatest players that I've seen in my 34 years of history.
At 35.
35 years. Ooh.
You're 35 now, bro.
Ah.
Don't forget how old you are. Don't try to go back in time. You're 35, you old ass.
Hey, guess what? You're gonna be 30 this year, bro. Welcome to the
I
neighborhood.
know. Yeah, big 3-0 is coming very soon. Only 5 months away. Oh my god. That's that. And before we get to our next point, is gonna be 30 years old. Damn. That's the thing? Is that's the only the dynasty that I can kind of relate to in the sense of like the Spurs. You just really never like disliked them. And the only thing is that people complained about them because they were just so damn boring. This team is complete opposite. This team is so fun to watch. It's kind of just like, well, I know they're back on top, but can you really be like upset about it? I mean, Clay coming back from the ACL, Steph finally winning a finals MVP. Just this team coming back from where they were not too long ago when they were down in the dumps. They were awful. They come back, add some pieces. Now they're world champions again. Well, this is the next great NBA dynasty, and it's happening in front of our eyes. It's been happening for 10.
And I'll say this: what's to say that they can't win?
Steph came in 2009, so I mean, that's
what's to say
13
they
years.
can't win it again?
I know.
This core is not going nowhere. They have no problem paying the luxury tax, and as we were talking off the record earlier, they have 3 young stars that didn't even have any participation in these playoffs.
Yeah,
James
Kuminga,
Wiseman
Moody.
this whole year. He was the number 2 pick. He's going to add him size, length, shooting ability. He's going to strengthen their front court.
Jonathan Kuminga,
who's 6'7", 6'8".
Moody.
He was a top 5 pick, and then Moses Moody and Jordan Poole. Hello,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
like
I had a huge impact last night.
And the experience that those young guys gain this playoff run is only going to propel this team going forward even more so. And you're going to look at this team going, can they win another one? Can they win 2 or 3 more? Because it's very likely, depending on if everyone stays healthy, there's nothing wrong with this team that you look at and go, what do they really need? They're going to get the size. They're going to get they're going to get another young defense wing guy in Kuminga. Moses Moody is going to add another versatility in the backcourt. Yeah, I mean, and listen, guys want to play there. Guys like Andre Iguodala, older guys, want to play there. They don't mind.
Hey, guess what?
They're key components to what makes this team great. And you know what? Steve Kerr is a great coach.
Yeah. He's go down as one of the all-time greats. I mean, they have everything right to repeat again as NBA champs and maybe even add to this already impressive resume. Speaking of resumes, there was a guy last night and there was a guy in this series that has been talked about for some time. And the reason was, well, is he ever going to get that coveted first finals MVP? Well, I get it. It's understandable. I get it. Trust me.
You should have to.
But it's over.
The guy at 34 points a game.
My thing is, my argument too would be Kobe should have a lot more MVPs than 1 MVP regular season, but he didn't. It's just the way the world.
That's Steve Nash one. Yeah, we don't vote for it.
BS. That's not my MVP. Anyways, the big question coming into this series was, well, if Steph Curry wins Finals MVP, which he did, in which they won another championship, that's number 4 for him. Is Stephen Curry a top 10 player of all time? Now, we actually had not too long ago. We did our top 10 players, and I know it may be look a little blurry, but here is our top 10 for what it was. This was my top 10. Now I'm going to move this question. So it's Jordan, Kareem, Kobe, LeBron, Magic, Russell, Wilt, Larry, Shaq, and Duncan. Now this was Ted's. So Ted's was pretty same type of players, just different ordering. My thing is, you look at those top 10 players, and Ted, who are you taking off the list to add Steph Curry to this? Now, well, when you make the top 10 of all time, you did something right throughout your career, and Steph Curry has done that right. Is he a top 10 player of all time is the question. And if so, Ted, who are you taking out?
Well, if he's coming in the top 10, we got to move 10 out. It's simple as that.
You move it. No. You're not moving. There's no way you're taking Tim Duncan out.
Absolutely.
No.
Shaq to me is more impactful than Tim Duncan.
Nope.
Shaq changed the game.
Duncan's the greatest power forward of all time.
Shaq has the argument to be the greatest center of all time.
He's not the greatest center.
Listen, he
might be the most dominant. He might be the most dominant. He ain't the greatest center of all time.
Shaq was a revolution.
I love Shaq.
Shaq was revolutionary. 7'1", 325 pounds, athleticism, could bring the ball up like a guard, could do anything. Okay. Shaq's athleticism, there's three guys hanging on him. There was no better player in the from 90s to the mid-2000s than Shaquille O'Neal. From 98 to 2004, there was no better player than Shaquille O'Neal. Dominant. Literally dominant.
Tim Duncan won a title in '99 on 24 and under. I mean, come on,
Shaq. Bro,
how
Shaq.
You think? I mean, my thing is, if I'm taking a player out of the top 10 list right now, it'd probably be Shaq. I don't know. I think
Shaq's. I think he had more impact on the game than Tim Duncan did. I'm gonna listen. I'll steal this from Colin. When you start talking about top 10 players and greatest players of all time, it's got to be more than just statistics. You can't just tell me, well, because then Karl Malone should be one of the best players because he's the second all-time leading scorer. It doesn't make him he's the best. You know, all-time rebounder. He's got to be the best. No, did he change the game? I think Jordan, LeBron, I think Kobe's somewhere right there. I mean, I don't know if he changed the game because he's the 1B to Jordan because they're so similar in who they are, how they played the game. Shaq, I mean, the Shaq shoe, the branding, the movies, what Shaq represented he was so much bigger, I feel, than life. And maybe because we lived in a generation where we were transferring from like old school to new school with technologies and computers and TV and marketing deals and and maybe Shaq never becomes Shaq if he doesn't play for the Lakers. But
what about I know we always talk about Shaq and Duncan right now. What about Larry? What about Russell? I mean, Russell I feel like has to stay in because he's got the 11 titles and
the trophy is named after
Will
Russell.
Is Will, I mean, is Steph even the greatest Warrior of all time?
Yeah. Yes, it's not even close.
Better than Will?
Yeah. Because Will didn't play for the Warriors the whole time.
I know, but it
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There's Rick Barry, too. He's the greatest Warrior of all time.
That's fine. So
the better argument would be who's the greatest Laker of all time. They always say
it's Kobe Bryant.
Over Magic? Kareem?
Yeah, it's Kobe.
It's only because
it's not.
I don't want to say something rude, but I feel like because his
no, that's not the case. That is so asinine.
No, it's so asinine. I think people look at Kobe Bryant differently because listen, when tragic deaths happen, you start looking at a guy and like it's like where was this love as much so?
Kobe was already the love. Okay, I get the growing support for love. I get that, but. Kobe played for 20 years. Why are we talking about Kobe? Why are we talking about these guys?
Maybe we should move Kobe out. No.
Get the hell out of here. Get out of here.
Well, here's the thing. You could put Curry in the top 5 because of just his impact on the game of basketball.
Oh, to me, Steph is probably the most impactful player maybe in the history of the NBA, more than I would say where he would rank among the all-time greats. To me, he's right outside the 10. Like
my thing would be like, who's Bill Russell would be my Jackie Robinson of the NBA.
That's my thing is that if I'm taking out
Dr. J could be the guy of the Duncan from the ABA.
If I'm trying to say what if the only player that I'm taking out of my top 10 would possibly be Shaq, or maybe Dunk. I don't think I'm taking Dunking out. But if I'm putting him in the top 10, the one guy would probably be maybe Shaq or Leary. That's all I'm trying to say. But I'm not changing it. My thing is, to me, Steph right now is still 11. Call me crazy. I don't really care. That is how I truly feel. If I'm picking influential and impactful, then Steph Curry definitely gets maybe the nod over maybe Magic or Jordan. To me,
we've also had this argument.
I would say Steph.
Listen, we've also had this argument in our drinking nights and out with the boys and uncles and stuff. And like, why are we talking about this? His career's not over yet. Like, why are we trying to put people?
Because it gives people like us and people like in the sports world, gives us something to talk about. Because it's a debate that could go on forever. Because when you're discussing all-time greats and you're trying to pick who's going out, who's going to be taken off the list, who's going to be added to the list, that just adds for a long discussion. And that's why people talk about it. That's why.
Where does he go if he wins another title?
Oh, then he's without question.
Does he go into the top 5?
To me, if he wins another title, he jumps Duncan, he jumps Shaq, he would jump Larry to me. He gets close to maybe that top 5 range. If he wins another title next year and he delivers like he did this series, yeah, then maybe we're talking top 5.
Does he also get called the greatest point guard of all time?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's all up for debate. I mean, if he wins another championship too, are we saying that he's the best of our era? And is he taking over?
What is our era?
Number 23. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I don't. For some reason, I don't think.
But we could talk about Kobe. Yeah, got Kobe. Here, LeBron. Oh no. We can't take LeBron out because LeBron is the greatest of all. Get out of here.
Do you know that Michael's like the untouchable?
He's not going anywhere. He just can't.
People would say Michael Jordan would still beat Curry on a one-on-one game.
I don't get that. I don't get that. My thing is, if I had to predict, I would say 9 to 11 range. Me personally, impactful. He may be the most impactful or influential player in the history of the NBA. So I gave you mine. Is Steph Curry a top 10? And if so, where would you rank him quickly?
I just told you. Yeah, I moved him into 10. I moved Duncan.
Oh, you put him 10. Okay. I was just curious.
I'm gonna slide him out, but here's the thing. I think those 3 guys, and you know what?
Fundamental out, bro.
And maybe I should take out Wilt and keep Duncan in. And I'm not saying jump to 7, but just move everyone down.
Just adjust the numbers.
And maybe put Wilt at 11. And say,
but if Steph wins another one, we have a whole.
Then I think he easily jumps into that 6 and under group.
He might be jumping into the conversation.
He jumps Shaq, Tim, Bird, Wilt, and he falls right behind the Magic, Kobe, LeBron, Michael.
That's my thing. He might be, even if he wins another championship, he wins another finals next year, and he plays the way he delivered this series. We may be having another discussion on a comfortable discussion for people, because we don't like to ever talk bad about good old LeBron James. Anyways, let's get over to the other team, and this is where I have to come into play now, and this is where it should be the floor is mine, because if anybody knew how I felt, and everybody knows I'm a Laker fan, and I know it's crazy, and it's like being a Yankee fan and rooting for the Boston Red Sox, or if you're a Giant fan, you're rooting for the Dallas Cowboys, which will never happen. Anyways,
that'll never happen.
That will never happen. I raved about this team. I saw this team live twice, and I sat here a month ago and said this team was going to win the NBA championship. And I still felt the same way up until 2 days ago, and I still felt that same. But last night, we know what happened. We saw the results. I was surprised. I did not expect this Celtics team to lose. This was a golden opportunity for the Boston Celtics to be called a team that, like I was trying to compare earlier this series, maybe the next Warriors of the Eastern Conference. And they still have a lot of work to do. They have the foundation. They have the pieces. They just got to put it all together. And I could say that I was wrong. I sat here and I was very confident. I said it even when they lost game 6 or game 5. I said, doesn't matter. Celtics in 7. I stood here and felt that this team was going to bounce back. They were going to go to Boston and they were going to take care of business and then go back to the Chase Center. I was wrong. I could sit here and as a person, as a man, and say I was
Yes,
wrong.
you were.
I was. Yes, of course. I
You
was
had
wrong.
you fell into that fool's gold, bro. You
How,
were falling.
that's my thing. It's not fool's gold when you go.
You're a lover of Jason Tatum. All right,
No,
said this
I
dude
went to go Ted. I went to go.
You're like, oh, Ted, what are the Warriors gonna do? They got who? You're like, who's gonna score? Who could Curry? You're like, tell me, come on, tell me. You didn't account for Gary Payton's son, to be part of it. You didn't think Jordan Poole. You didn't think Wiggins was gonna be the next Kawhi on the LeBron and just shut down Jason Tatum. I mean, he put a wrap on him. He Spider-Man'd him up, bro. He didn't go nowhere. Last night, Jason Tatum was scared, bro. He didn't want no piece of that action. Standing on the side of the court, waiting for popcorn and chips on the side with soda. He didn't want no part of that. That time where he drove to the middle way in the fourth quarter and got rejected back in the face, he's like, I'm done. He's like, I'm done. I don't have it. Listen, they had the pieces. You are right. They had all the pieces, right? But you sent me something, and something we have reiterated multiple times talking about the show. Two things that you said that would kill the Celtics. One, their sloppy play, and that was with the turnovers. They had 11 turnovers in the first half. I believe what they have, 22, 23 last night. Not going to win a basketball game, especially the NBA Finals, that way. Other thing is their offense was too stagnant. Your best player came up the shortest in the last three games, and it made a big difference. He did not have what we saw in the previous series in the semifinals and in the conference finals against the Miami Heat and against the Bucks. He just didn't have it. I don't know if he was tired or hurt or just Wiggins put the claps on him. I mean, literally put the vice grips on him. But Wiggins shut him down. He still got his numbers, but he shut him down.
Yeah.
But Tatum had 100+ turnovers in this postseason, more than anyone else. Yep. He didn't have it last night. Jaylen Brown looked like the star last night. If it wasn't for Brown and Horford in the second half, that game is a 30 to 40-point blowout on their own court in Game 6. It's not even close. If it wasn't for those two guys, the core is.
You got to remember that game started 14-2, and then the Golden State Warriors
52 to 25 run.
Yeah, and then they had that 21-0 run, the biggest run in NBA history, and kind of felt like the game was over. After that point, you're sitting there, you're like, yeah, this game actually may be over. Even no matter, and that's the other thing, no matter how many times it felt like the Celtics were right there, they cut into single digits, Warriors would answer right back. And it was frustrating to see. And yes, I am a Jason. Jason Tatum's my favorite basketball player in the world. I saw a team twice live. You can see something on TV. It's a whole different ball game when you're actually there. And I sat there for Game 2 and Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals. And it's not just because I'm a Jason Tatum fan. No, I'm not. It's not because I'm a Jaylen Brown fan. It's because I truly believe that this team had the right foundation and the right formula to go into Golden State and beat the Golden State Warriors.
They just didn't have the star or the experience.
It wasn't even that. It was the Golden State Warriors played the Boston Celtics game. Their defense, the Golden State Warriors defense, was the ultimate deciding factor. They shut down Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum in the sense of they made him uncomfortable. They looked sloppy. Turnovers. Tatum had 100 turnovers in this postseason, the most all time. I also got some stats for the last 3 games of the Celtics. They were -17 in the turnover differential, -8 in the rebound differential. You think this is the Warriors team? They're not a big team. They don't got a lot of height, but they did. I don't know how they did it. That's accredited to Andrew Wiggins.
And those turnovers, Jeff, hold on. And let me just add to that so you can finish your point and add to that. Those turnovers that you just speak about, the Warriors had 103 points off of those turnovers in the finals, and it was the most by any team through the first 5 games of the finals since the 1992 Bulls. Just speaking, hey, listen, you could turn the ball over, but if you can hold them on the other side, it's not too bad. But if teams are getting free layups and banging threes from deep, it's a double trouble. And that's how those runs go.
They also were averaging just under 94 points a game the last 3 games compared to 108. I got it. 108 points the first 3 games. And then they shot 41% from the floor and then 38% from 3. So this team, the last 3 games, you got to give credit where credit is due. We kept emphasizing it. We kept talking about it heavily. The Boston Celtics defense is legit. They were going to go in and they were going to shut down this Golden State Warriors offense. No, it was the complete opposite. It was the Golden State Warriors that got the job done on the defensive end, caused turnovers. That's a big deal. And to see this team that I felt very confident in, I was wrong. And I also got the Tatum stat, a little couple only had 2 points in game 6 last night. He shot 24% from the floor in the fourth quarter and only making 6 baskets in 6 games. But I don't want to go crazy and get people all, oh my God, why is he comparing? I'm not comparing. Just got to hear me out. LeBron James' first finals averaged 22 points a game and 6
Oh,
turnovers.
wait, you're going to compare LeBron James? And...
This is what I just said, but of course you would do the obvious because you are Mr. Obvious and doing stuff like that. And then Kobe's 2000 finals, he had a struggle in 15 points a game.
Yes.
I'm not comparing the two because
the two
really are all-time greats, and they had 9 total championships put together. I am not saying that. My thing is that we've seen this before from greats. Tatum has the makings to be an all-time to be a great in this game. You just got to work on it. Just got to be better. And now that people have seen some of the weaknesses, turning over the ball, he's going to have to be that much more better and improve during the offseason. But this Boston Celtics team is not going anywhere. They're going to be back, and they're going to be competing for championships. It was just a learning experience, but a golden opportunity that was right in grasp. And they didn't take advantage of it. I guess that's the end of the NBA season. That's
just
it.
Like that.
But the offseason,
sleep.
But this offseason will be one that's going to be quite intriguing. Whether with the Lakers, the Knicks, the Miami Heat, where's Donovan Mitchell going to go? There's a lot that's going to unravel soon. The NBA draft is only 6 days away. So we'll see what happens. Ted, Orlando Magic got the number 1 pick.
We'll see what happens.
Do you even like the Magic anymore? Are you still a Magic fan?
I'm still rooting for the Magic, but I don't see him.
He's not a Magic fan. He's not a Magic fan. He just admitted.
They're just not on TV no more, so it's hard to watch.
Who do you like? Who are you a basketball fan? If you're a basketball fan,
I just enjoy the game of basketball now. I like watching the Warriors. You know, the Knicks are always fun when they're.
Did we just hear Ted say the Knicks?
Well, when they're not.
Ask a New York fan how they feel about the Knicks. I don't think they'll say fun.
They got high hopes. She's got high.
They got high hopes. Yeah. Well, if they can make a splash in free agency, I guess maybe they'll have an opportunity.
Hey, listen, to think a week later, the Rangers are out, Celtics lose, our sports teams.
Whoa. There's still something brewing in New York.
Whoa. Hey, there's 2 teams in New York, bro. See the Mets last night?
No, I also said something brewing, and I've been saying it. The New York Yankees and the New York Mets, ladies and gentlemen. Something's going on in New York. We're going to have to see if that could continue throughout the long season as we have finally made 100 games left in the MLB season. But we're not talking MLB. We'll be back next week to talk New York Yankees baseball and if they're ever going to lose. Because I don't know when it's going to happen. They just keep finding ways to win. And as a Yankee fan, I'm the happiest fan. But I'm still waiting for that regular season. I mean, that postseason. A different animal in the postseason. I'm not getting my hopes up right now, but it feels different in New York.
Quick question. If you had to look at the conferences going next year, what team do you see a better chance of getting to
in the NBA?
Yeah. Eastern Conference or Western Conference?
To me, it would be Golden State easily. Just because I don't feel the same. I don't feel confident enough. The Lakers, yeah, maybe. We'll see what happens with that whole mess. The Suns, don't know what they're going to look like with DeAndre Ayton possibly going to be gone. The Mavericks, they just got Christian Wood. So, I don't know. If this team's at full health next year, Golden State Warriors easily will be in the finals. And the Celtics are going to have the tougher road because the Eastern Conference, we already know what it is. We just saw it. They're going to have the Bucks still there. The Heat are going to be fine. The Sixers, the Knicks, hopefully, maybe the Knicks will look completely different. The Nets, we got to see what happens with that mess as well. There's teams from top to bottom. The Bulls, I mean, yeah, the Celtics, this was, like I said, a golden opportunity. We'll see if they get back there. Maybe they don't. Maybe they do. But the NBA season has come to an end, and the Golden State Warriors are back on top. So congratulations to, once again, The Golden State Warriors. I'm not going to say to the new champs because I feel like it's just, well, what else is new? The Golden State Warriors are back
They're
on
the
top.
ultimate champs.
Steph Curry, congratulations on finally getting that much-deserving Finals MVP. We are on all social media platforms at Keys to the City, so check us out. We will be back next week. We are out.
You are now in tune to the Keys to the City podcast.